Now that my assembly is complete, the next step is create an exploded view. First, I'm going to move this to the far end of the slot because that's where the 1/4 thread is, so I can unscrew it out of the base. To create the exploded view, from the assembly ribbon, I'm going to choose an exploded view. Typically, sub-assemblies aren't re-exploded, but in this case, the thread protector has to be screwed on after the screw has been put through the slot. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to enable the checkbox to let me select sub-assembly parts. The first part I'll select is the rubber stopper. I'll select the y-axis as the direction of movement and the rotation about the y-ring. Now I need to move it a total distance of 5 mil to unthread it, and I have to calculate how many degrees it will need to move 5 mil. Each rotation will take it 1 pitch, which is 1/20, which is 0.05 of an inch, but I'm working in metric. So I'm going to open up the calculator. I'll enter the inch pitch, 1 divided by 20, which gives me 50 thou, and now I need to convert that to metric. So I'm going to multiply by 25.4. So the pitch is 1.27, and I need to go 5 mils. So that's roughly 1¼ mil every turn. So if I clear this and I take 5 and I divide by 1.25, essentially I need 4 full turns. So if I multiply that by 360 degrees, I need to move 1440 degrees. So I'm going to enter 1440 degrees. Before I do add this step, the rotation arrow is probably going the wrong way. So I'm going to reverse it, and then I'll add the step. I'll check later if the direction is correct. Next, I'm going to grab the rubber stopper one more time, and this time I'm just going to freehand move it up in the y-axis until it's free of the part. So I'm going to move it a little bit more. Now there's a gap here, and I'll tell it I'm done with that step. Then I'm going to rotate my part around, and I'm going to unthread this, and I need to unthread these 2 screws. So I'm going to select the 2 screws. I'll do them one at a time, and again I want to choose the direction and the rotation ring. So I'm going to make the distance 5 mil. The arrow is pointing the wrong way, so I'll reverse its direction. I'll reverse the rotation rings. And for the angle, the pitch is 0.5. So every 360 degrees, we'll move it 1/2 mil. So I need 10 full rotations. So it's 3600 degrees. And I'll add that step. And then again, I'm going to pull this down so it can clearly be seen. Until I'm done that step. I'm going to repeat that for this fastener. Select the y-axis, the rotation about y, set the distance up to 5 mil, reverse the direction, reverse the rotation, set the angle, add the step, scroll back so I can see this, drag that y-axis down, I'll look at it isometrically, make sure I can see the screw. I can't quite see it all, so I'm going to drag it a bit further, and I'll tell I'm done with that step. The last step will be to take this component, and I'm going to need to select all of the remaining sub-assembly components. And again, I want to move them in the y-axis, and I want it to rotate about the y. So I'll choose that. This part was 4.28 mil thick, so I'll set the distance up to 4.28. I'll reverse the direction. I'll open the calculator again to calculate how many degrees. So every rotation will move it again roughly 1.25 mil. So I have 4.28 the distance, and I'll divide by the 1.25 mil. So I need to move it 3.5 turns. If I multiply that by 360 degrees, I get 1250 will be an acceptable rounding. So I'll set this 1250 degrees. I'll reverse the rotation and I'll add that step. One more time, I'll go back to the isometric view. And the last thing I want to do is take these components, completely out so they can be seen. And again, switching back to the isometric view, I can see I want to move them just a little further so they're all clearly visible. I'll tell it I'm done with that step. I think my explosion's good. I'm going to accept that. Next, I'll add my exploded line sketch. So I'm going to manually add the exploded lines. I'll tell it this here is going the wrong way. I'll reverse it. Connects to this. Right click to accept that. This thread's going the right way. Goes into that hole. I'll accept that step. And again, this thread, arrow's pointing the right way, goes into this hole. Right click to accept it. And I'm done with my exploded line sketch. I'll close the routing line and I'll exit the sketch. So next, I'll go to my configuration manager. I've exploded my default, the PU50. I'm going to expand it and I'm going to right click on the exploded and I'm going to tell it to animate the collapse. And I'll watch that each fastener is turning the right way. Okay, they all appear to be turning the right way. That's great. I'll close it and I'll save my work.